Hello YouTube, my name is Jovany and welcome to the first video of my segment Behind the Glasses. I am wearing a very special shirt today because I got this one when I participated in my first ever Pride March, being blind and gay. There are the colors as well as different symbols representing different disabilities, and it says on the back, whoop, cameraman, why don't you tell me what it says on the back?
Lighthouse, for the blind and visually impaired. Disabled, adjective, having a disability, equally human, noun, an identity to be proud of. Hashtag be seen.
Hashtag be seen. So, as part of my segment, I am here to answer all of those spicy questions that the general public has put out there. So thank you for asking the questions, and I will now be answering them.
What do you look for in a partner having a disability and being LGBTQ?
Wow, you're really starting off with those hard-hitting questions, aren't you? Well, I'll keep this one brief because we'll have a future segment where I'll specifically talk about dating. But in terms of intersectionality, I would say that being blind, I definitely look for a sense of humor, personality, voice is something that is important to me. And of course, the LGBTQ part, the person has to be looking for someone of the same sexual orientation as myself, which can be difficult to find, especially in settings like bars or something that are dark, right? And obviously it's taboo to just go up to someone and say, hey, I like you, are you gay? So that makes it more difficult. But those three things are important for sure, and there are more which we will touch on in a future segment episode.
Do you think that the cross-section of identity has brought any stereotypes into your life?
I think, as with any group, there are always stereotypes. Definitely in the blindness community, there's that stereotype of being helpless, not having independence, people having pity on oneself. And when you add the intersectionality, that layer of queerness, then there's also that expectation that the gay community has of being out there, flamboyant, hypersexualized. But it's interesting because when these two are combined, then there's this dichotomy of, oh, because you're disabled, then you may not fit in as well with the LGBT community, or oftentimes people with disabilities are not seen as sexual. So there's that as well.
Do you have people that share that identity that give the intersectionality a bad rap?
No people that I personally know, but as with any community, cultural, ethnic, there are always people who give them a bad rap. I have met plenty of people in the blindness community who have given it a bad rap. And so I'm pretty sure there are people who share both of these identities who are out there, and unfortunately they do give these communities a bad rap.
Since coming out and trying to connect with others in the LGBTQIA community, how has being blind affected your reception?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I will say that it was a bit of a challenge, especially since I've been blind for my whole life, just as I've been gay for my whole life as well, but I didn't realize the latter part until much later. And so when I started seeking out these spaces, I felt that I was very welcomed into the space and accepted as a human being. However, being blind posed these challenges because I wasn't really in tune with all of the queer culture, the LGBTQ history, and in the space itself during discussions and things like that, there's also a lot of non-visual cues like eye contact that I had difficulty with. So in terms of being accepted into the space, I don't think the blindness really played a role. If anything, they were interested in learning more about me, but just from being in the space itself, there was that difficulty for me particularly.
Do you feel closer to the disability community or the LGBTQ community? And if so, why? I.e., included in, active, or represented by?
As much as I would like to say that I feel a part of both equally, I can't quite say that yet. Especially since I have been an active participant of the blindness community for so much longer, I feel closer since I've participated in, networked, worked for, and met people from that community. Whereas in the LGBTQ community, I'm still new to that community. I'm still figuring it out and finding these spaces. And so I don't feel as close. I don't have as many mentors. I don't have the connections that I do with the blindness community. But I am working on that and hope and that will soon change. And I know that soon they will be balanced.
Have you found safe spaces for blind and LGBTQ?
Yes, actually, I have. Part of the reason I'm wearing this shirt specifically is because while I was up in the Bay Area during Pride, the Lighthouse, which is a blindness organization, was hosting their first march in Pride. And so I got to connect with other disabled and queer identifying people. And we got to march in the parade together, network. And since then, I have been connected with the Blind Pride, which is held through the American Council of the Blind, which is a big national organization. So yes, I have found some spaces where these two intersections can intersect.
Do you have any role models that share that intersection that you look up to?
Famous people, no, none that I can think of. But there are some people that I have met quite recently who are blind and who are also part of the community, and they embody what it means to live a beautiful life, sharing both of these identities. One of which is Serena Olsen, who works up in Lighthouse, where I got this shirt from, up in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Do you find that you can be LGBTQ in disabled spaces, but not the other way around?
That's a tough question. I would say it's interesting because when I am in spaces with people who are disabled, and I say that I'm LGBTQ, most people won't even bat an eye. And I think that has to do a lot with the fact that we are used to being in spaces that are not specifically made for us, and so we're accepting of others. When I'm in LGBTQ spaces, I still feel that I belong, but the people there tend to have more questions and are more inquisitive as to who I am as a person with a disability and how that plays a role with my sexuality. Thank you for joining me today on my first video segment. I had a lot of fun making it. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I look forward to the next video. Take care.